G'day, legends. It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here. Before we get stuck into another great interview brought to you by Crannk.com and thatmetalstation.com, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, and that way you can keep up to date with all the best music and interviews from all over the world. G'day, legends. How the bloody hell are you going? It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here with Crannk.com and with thatmetalstation.com. So no matter where you are in the world, I'm having a chat with Rex Mazza of Residual Self. Their forthcoming single, Witches, does come out. I believe it's September 16th. The latest single that come out was Damage, come out a couple of months ago. Absolute ripper as well, man. Thank you very much for taking some time to have a chat with me, man.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Too easy, man. First off, can you tell the uninitiated, the people that don't know of you, kind of how you guys first started at the beginnings of the band?
Well, this initially started as a solo project for me in 2016. And I showed it to a couple of people and brought it around to like open mics. And one guy, David Sassa, who was a drummer, he ran an open mic, loved it so much, he wanted to hop on board. And he got one of his friends to play guitar, and here we are now.
What was it like coming in for an open night with, you know what I mean? Like starting out as a solo project, coming into an open night, it would have been, you know, not because not everyone's there to come and see something a little bit heavier or alternative. What was that night like?
It's always interesting because I always have to preface like almost all of our shows to this day, like, hey, are you guys having a good time? Cool. Well, not anymore.
That's it.
With every show we kind of play now, it gets to the point that we're either the heaviest band on the set or we're the lightest.
Yeah.
So we could play with the alternative people or the heavy metal people, and we just kind of free flow everywhere.
Yeah, well, you just have a great sound. How would you describe your sound? Because it kind of goes through all kind of genres there as well.
I pretty much try to describe it as like a goth meets grunge and just anything in between that.
Yeah. It also has some real you know what I mean, like the doom metal vibes to it at times. Some of the stoner metal dudes, you can kind of groove out to it, especially with the latest single, Witches.
Yeah, Witches was fun. We actually designed that to be our answer to like the jam band scene, because where we are in New England, it's mostly run by jam bands. Everyone around us is like deadheads. It's insane.
Yeah.
So our drummer Dave and I both had like some experience with jam bands prior to this. So we were like, all right, well, let's come out with the longest song possible that we can put out and still be us. So that was our answer.
Yeah, I think it comes in at like 7 minutes 46 or something like that. What was it like? Tell me a little bit about making this track. Since we're talking about it, I want to dive into this track a little more, then we'll probably dive back a little bit. Tell me a little bit about making this track. Did you just guys get in there and kind of jam out on it and just kind of, you know what I mean? Tell me all about making this one.
This song particularly started for us as a space filler at live shows.
Okay.
Let's say we were supposed to play for 40 minutes and we had our set done out that way. And for some reason they say, hey, you guys can keep going. So we're like, all right. So that became kind of like what we just did. And we decided that we should probably record it. So how we did it was I played all the rhythm guitar tracks. I played some bass. And then I just programmed MIDI drums based off of what Dave plays live. I just tried to match it exactly as I could. And then I had Josh come in, throw some lead guitar on top of it, and then I did the vocals.
Oh, nice. So you're doing all the recording and yourself, yeah?
A good portion of it. If I can program the drums, I will.
Yep.
But I'd rather have Dave in the studio doing it.
Yep. Okay.
Just because it's a different feel rather than just having it programmed.
Yeah, yeah. How was that whole experience for you going now? You're working with a band, going from a solo. It must really drive and push you now to have that kind of band behind you, because you see a lot of these guys doing solo acts, and yes, they do it really well, but also in a band, you've got other people kind of with their creative inspirations kind of pushing and driving as well. So it kind of becomes more of a collective instead of the one.
Absolutely. I love that about this. I originally designed this with like a slow, deep, and hard style, getting more like a Typo Negative feel.
Yep.
And once I brought them in, they were like, all right, this is too slow. We're going to change this here. We're going to do things here. Next thing I know, like my songs are different than how I even imagined them in my own head. And I'm like, nah, I like this now. You guys did good. So a lot of like what we do when we're writing new material now is I come in with like my foundation still being slow and just here's my 3 to 4 chord progression.
Yep.
Now you guys just rip it apart, do what you want with it, and I'll figure it out.
Yeah, that must be a lot of fun, and it must be a lot better going in for these shows, having, you know, the three of you guys in there together as well. How's the live scene been? You know what I mean? Coming back out and now playing shows again. How is everything going over there?
It's been great, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, for a while with COVID and the pandemic, we weren't even allowed to play where we were in our state because we are right in between New York and Massachusetts, which were both really heavy spots. So they didn't even have live music for over a year. And then once they brought it back, it was 3 to 4 months of acoustic, and we're not built for the acoustic type.
Yeah.
So we've been playing out probably about 6 months now, just doing some local stuff around us. There seems to be a lot more people going out and doing things now. So it's a nice change to see more people going out than there were prior to this pandemic.
Yeah, it's definitely the same over here. People are starting to go out. We're starting to see all these bands come over here and tours and festivals and well, so I'm really encouraged about what's happening. It must have been a bit of a revenge with the tracks you got together from there. That album come out in 2021. That was kind of a compilation of everything you had kind of brought out up until that date from around 2017 up until there, was it?
Yeah. When we had the pandemic, we decided that since we couldn't play out, we might as well just bring our favorite songs back to the studio, remix them, add some new parts, and just put out one full-length album. And that's what we did. It got picked up by Sliptrick Records, and yeah, it's been pretty good.
You still signed with Sliptrick?
Yes.
Yeah, how's that been being signed? You know what I mean? I know a lot of people can do it independent, but also just having that, I suppose, support of a record label kind of behind you, kind of, you know, a bit more comfort going forward as well.
It's great. I love this label. They have such good pulls with distribution. I never thought I'd be able to walk into, like, I don't know if you guys have FYE.
For your information.
Well, that's like it's a chain record store in our area in the US. I never thought I'd be able to like walk in there and see my CD like sold in stores. It's really cool to me. It's also at Barnes and Noble, Walmart, Amazon, Tower Records.
Yeah, it's really good to see record stores in general still happening. You know what I mean? I've got to go 300 kilometers to find a record store, or 150 kilometers over the border. So either way, it's a hell of a drive for me to actually find a record store. So that's why I'm always hitting up platforms like Bandcamp, which I know your music is over there as well. People can go buy the album if they're like me and they can't get near a record store. You can still head over to those platforms and support the artists as well, i.e. buying the digital. Then you can play it bloody anywhere in the best quality.
Yeah. You gotta love this digital market we got now.
Yeah, I know. It's a weird old thing, and you know, you guys working the digital scene as well must be a fun thing because you've got it over on Spotify, and as you said, you've got the physicals as well too, which people can order.
Yep.
Yeah, cool, through Amazon. And the Witches track, man, is this all working towards another album? Is this like kind of you guys working towards an album later in the year to kind of tease out a few singles and kind of go from there? Have you guys kind of come through this COVID shit and gone, look, we've got a whole stack of new material. Revenge was kind of a little bit of an ode to this is what we've done. And these tracks coming forward, Witches are like, this is what we're gleaning going towards.
You know it.
Yeah.
We got this song and then 2 others that we're going to put out through the year and then a full length on top of that.
Yeah. It was a hell of a time, but it's also good to see artists like yourself that have used this time wisely in creating new music and kind of planning where they're going to go going forward as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Okay, you got any shows coming up, dude? Anything else you want to plug?
At the moment, we don't have any shows. We're working on the recordings for these next few songs, as you know, which is one of them that'll be coming out on the 16th. So
where's the best place people can get along and support you? I noticed we mentioned the record stores. People can go buy the album out that you've released. I did mention Bandcamp, but where's the other platforms people can head along and really support you guys going forward?
stream it on Spotify. You got Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and we're going to be putting out a video for Witches on YouTube. It's going to be a lyric video, but should be pretty cool.
Awesome. Rex, man, this has been an absolute pleasure, man. Great to hear you, man. I'm looking forward to what comes out from Residual Self. The new single Witches does come out September 16th. You do have the album Revenge. You've also got a couple of the other 3-track EPs, which is really cool to check out. The Holification 1 and 2 over on Bandcamp and all the streaming platforms. Man, do you have any last words, shout outs, or thank yous you'd like to add in there, my friend?
Thanks to all the fans, and I hope you enjoy Witches.
Awesome. Thank you very much, mate. You have a great evening.
Thank you. You too.
Cheers, mate.